Okay. Ashe Jen, welcome to the Empire Podcast and the Tarot Masterclass for Monday. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you all for finding y'all's way to the class. A lot of people didn't make it, so I will be sharing this through the email too for those that missed it. But today we are going to be continuing our major arcana chat and getting more in depth with these cards and understanding them, and seeing how much we can complete today. So I'm not sure how many cards we'll be able to do. I know the last session we did about 4 cards. So hopefully we're able to keep this process going, and get some things done. So next week we won't have that much left to do. We have about, I want to say 13 plus cards left in the major arcana. The minor arcana is going to be a little easier since it won't be these like full-on explanations like the major arcana cards, but we're hoping for the best. So today's first card is the Chariot. And it's actually funny, yesterday I was doing some live readings and this card came out a lot. So hello, Chariots. We are back in business. The Chariot card for me, I always see this as like an initiator, someone that's looking to take the initiative. For those that have been in the previous classes, y'all know that I put like a little subtitle here, basically representing like, how I see this in, a broader perspective as far as, the collective energies, and just kind of like the circle of life. In that sense. And for the Chariot, I put energy and vibration, since this card represents initiation, and things like that. So in the general spread, we'll see the Chariot as a card for encouragement. Whenever you're feeling as though you cannot succeed, this card appears to remind you to stop getting in your own way. Find a way to camouflage the weaknesses while embracing your strengths. This card will remind you that you are not alone. And even in the card, there's like 2 little horses, or depending on the deck that you get, it'll probably be a little bit different, but those things typically represent spirit guides, ancestors, and horses are usually associated with like pride and leadership and things like that. So you take that into consideration too. The sign that's associated with the Chariot is Cancer. Some people think it's the moon, or there's another card, but people usually associate Cancer with other major arcana cards, but it is actually the Chariot. So if you guys ever, look to include astrology into y'all's readings, then voila, there you go. So when pulling a love spread, when the Chariot comes out, I always see this as like confidence, in your relationships, feeling confident in, a partnership, or well, am I gonna burp or what? Like what's going on? But yeah, when it comes to love, it's basically, encouraging you not to hold back your feelings, expressing them, and not allowing fear of rejection to stop you, just kind of going with the flow. Remembering that you're the prize, right? A Chariot is a reminder that all you have to do is try. Relationships get hard, so if you see this card, it may be encouraging you to work through any challenges. So yeah, that is the love/relationships interpretation. Next, we have finances and career. So in career, you may find yourself wanting to move away from environments that aren't so uplifting. This card in career and finances can indicate that there will be increases in your finances or promotions coming towards you. This may also be a sign to take on a new project, career path with no fear, especially doing something that you want to do, because the Chariot is more of like, you know, that I don't know, how the people say like a fire's being lit underneath them. That's what the Chariot would represent. So whatever you do decide to do as far as career is concerned, just do it to the best of your ability. And then we have the spiritual journey here. And I'll just like to see this as like the, interpretation for, healing, or message from spirit or things like that. So when this card comes out in regards to it, there are times where we feel like giving up. Things get harder when we don't see the bigger picture. The Chariot reminds us to keep the faith even when we feel things aren't working in our favor. You got to keep your chin up. Better days are ahead. So this is really just like the advice card, because usually people will come and ask for advice, or if you guys are interpreting, these questions for yourselves, there y'all go. There's like a little mini reading in these interpretations, which I love. So you guys can let me know when you guys are done. If you guys just need to look over some things, or if anyone's taking notes, y'all can let me know in the chat. And when everyone's done, we'll move forward. I'm gonna take me a sip of this agua. Yeah, I love this. I love the Chariot. The Chariot is like, it's a liberating card. You know, it's encouraging us to free ourselves from something. So whatever we need to be freed from, the Chariot will help us get out of that funk. It'll help us get out of that, stagnancy. Yes, this is the first card of the night. Yeah, it is. It would represent a car too. I like that interpretation, simply because it can be an indicator for travel, things like that. So as we do get along a little bit deeper into the course, I feel like we'll start to dive into like different symbols and signs, and we'll be doing a lot of practice stuff and a lot of games and tests and things like that. Um, to help strengthen y'all's connection to these cards. I think it's more than just interpreting the meanings. It's more of, developing your own relationship with these cards. So I will be making sure to set up some things to make learning a lot more fun and easy. So hopefully these presentations are helping you guys, especially with the card being here. I had to find some cards on Canva because I was like, I got to put these cards on here somewhere. So this isn't the Rider Waite, but it's close enough to a tarot card. So I had to throw that in there.
Can I share something really quickly?
Of course.
Like a testimonial, like in gratitude for you, girlfriend.
Yeah.
My readings have been like so much, like I've been performing them with so much more confidence lately. It's like I look at the cards and it's like I'm not, like you said, like not necessarily looking for the meaning, the textbook meaning. I'm actually feeling what it means to me. And I just wanted to say that, like, because it's like communing with everybody else is like, oh wow, right. So a lot of other people are having imposter syndrome too. A lot of other people, like, I don't feel alone. So it's like helping me boost my confidence. Like, it's not just me.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm glad the class is helping.
It really is.
Yeah, that's why I made it too. And I remember we had touched on this last week. But I made it because it was like, if I had this when I started reading tarot, I probably would have, I don't know what I would have been doing, but it is useful. So I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. And I do, hope to continue this. Like, I don't really see this ending anytime soon because it's not like we're doing this daily. It's once a week. So we have a lot to cover. But I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. It makes me feel good. All right. Are you guys ready to move forward, or we got some people still going? Maybe somebody's out there taking notes. Not sure. Just let me make sure. All right. If we are good to go, we're gonna move on. I think the Hermit's next. How would you know if a card means yes or no? I think it's more of the vibe, like the Chariot. I would see this as a yes, but it depends on the question that's being asked, because if you get like the Ten of Swords, that's an automatic no. The Ten of Swords is an automatic no. The Tower could be a no, so on and so forth. So it's really the card, the vibe that the card gives. Because if you're going to just pull one card, then it's kind of like you kind of have to go with that. But if you're pulling a spread to answer that question, then that's where things get a little more complex, which we'll also be getting into. So I love that you asked that question. It gives me an idea of a specific lesson that we can do. Like, I can put down, the different cards and how they would be interpreted in a yes or no spread or question, or so on and so forth. But it really depends on the card. Like the Chariot would be a yes. The Lovers would probably be a yes, but it really depends on the question. That's one of the most important things when it comes to tarot, is that these cards have their own individual meanings, but like just how we have like these different interpretations here. If the question is something completely different than, just a general reading, then it would be a little different, So the Chariot could be a yes in this case for something, but it could be a no for something else. So it honestly depends on the question that's being asked. That's how I would go with it, just because the cards give off different vibes with different things. So I hope that answered your question. But I'm going to move forward and nobody say nothing. So I'm assuming we're done with the Chariot. But if not, I can go back. Just let me know. All right. I don't know why I said Hermit. I think Hermit is, yeah. Okay. Hermit is 9, not 8. So 8 is strength. Strength is Leo. You guys could look at it as that zodiac sign if you want to. You do not have to, because I know not a lot of people are into astrology. But if you do and would like to apply it to your readings, it's Leo. This is going to signify willpower. We just had the initiation type of energy coming from the Chariot. Now we have to have that willpower. We have to have the ability to stay consistent, and really just continuing to put forth some type of effort to our situation, regardless of what it is. We're about to get into the strength card. I love this card. In the original right, I always say wider weight because R's and W's just don't work well with my tongue. But the Rider Waite deck, I think it's a woman like looking ahead with a little lion beside her. And that's usually the indicator a lot of people get with Leo. So Leo and lion kind of go hand in hand. So in a general interpretation, the strength card usually is represented by a woman taming a lion. She has to have enough courage to even know that she can subdue such a powerful animal. Even though she ends up with bruises, she is fearless enough to know the wild beast can be tamed by her grace, compassion, and presence. Developing inner strength is the main focus, okay? Inner strength is the name of the game with the strength card. Just because, there's a lot of things within ourselves that we're not able to tame, like our anger, our sadness, anxiety, our negative thoughts. So there's a lot of things that, internally we have to tame. And I think that you'll see more of that in like a individual reading rather than like a love reading or, something else. But that will be the general interpretation. And then we have love and relationships. So this card shows up when there is a need to boss up and endure. It could also show up as needing to move from your heart center and embrace your confidence. Also, you could be aligning with someone that has a wilder side, work on being cooperative instead. So I love this. In relationships, a lot of people like to just do it all on their own. Whereas the strength card encourages us to work as a team, rather than, it just being, I don't know, it would be weird to just be in a relationship, but y'all are just like, you stay over there and I'll be over here. Like there has to be some type of communication. It has to be some type of team building, because you guys are working towards a specific goal. So that's very, very important, whether it's love or just any other relationship, whether it's friendships, business related, so on and so forth. You want to make sure that there is some type of, building going on. Because we don't want no tower moments. Okay. We don't want no tower moments in our relationships, but they happen because there is a lack of teamwork or a lack of structure. So next we're moving into finances and career. There's a need to be forthright and unwavering in your ability to execute your dreams, visions, and ideas. This card also shows up as needing to be brave in entrepreneurship if that's the route you choose to take. Be careful to avoid impulsive spending. When spending, make sure it's not on the basis of emotional impulse. So yeah, with finances and career, you basically just want to make sure that, whatever it is that you're doing, you want to do it. Because the strengths will basically highlight your weaknesses, So if you find yourself doing something that you don't want to do, or find yourself in a position that, really don't want to be in, it's very important that, you take accountability and reflect, especially before making decisions. You want to think before you speak, think before you spend for a lot of us when it comes to finances. And then more in career, it's really just learning how to say no, or knowing what you want and not settling for anything less. And then lastly, we have spiritual journey. So you are being asked to move with fearlessness. You are being reminded that you have the strength to endure and that things will get better. You're also being reminded that you have all the power, strength, and courage to overcome any obstacle or challenge. Spirit is asking you to unleash the inner warrior. Okay. So if this comes out and you're pulling a spread from spirit, or, you just need some advice right now, this card is telling you to boss up. Okay. Let the stuff go, whatever it is, and focus on yourself, so that you can feel more empowered about yourself, your experience, so on and so forth. So that is the strength card. This card is very powerful. I feel like if you get this card, it's really just, highlighting, your confidence, reminding you to feel better about yourself or about your situation. It could also be taken as a, it's going to get better or it's going to get easier type of omen, if you believe in omens. But yeah, that's the strength card. It's 8. We'll get more into numerology after we finish all these cards because I do not want to put too much on y'all. So we'll be getting into numerology if you guys are wondering what these numbers mean too. And then you kind of want to be able to interpret them for yourselves as well. So I ain't gonna put all that on y'all, but I will later when it's not too much going on. Yeah, you guys can let me know when y'all are done with the strength card. Next is going to be the hermit, which is fun. We all hear about hermit mode a lot, so should be exciting. But yeah, if anyone's taking notes, just let me know when you are done and we're gonna move forward. But yeah, the strength card was pretty straight to the point. Um, anyone need me to go back to another slide? Are we good from this moment moving forward? I think we should be good then. All right. Take a little water break. Start them on. I do not like the way that sounded. All right. I'm gonna give y'all another minute or so, and we will go to the hermit card. I don't know how far we're gonna get. We're actually doing pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, we got about, I don't know. Can't even think of how many cards we have left, but shouldn't be that much. I know the sun is actually really terrible, so if we get to the sun today, I'm apologizing in advance because this presentation is old. Not that old, but it was a group thing. Me and some of my old colleagues, I guess I should say, made this, and the person that did the sun didn't do it justice. So hopefully we don't get to the sun today, but if we do, I'll probably do more talking than reading because somebody only put a sentence for that, but it's cool. It's cool. I'll finesse it. I'll make up for it with my words. I think all the other cards should be fine. Because I know I had to tweak some when I had started the school. But hopefully we don't get to the sun today. All right, we good to move on to the hermit? I think that's a yes, maybe.
Yes.
Okay, period. Thank you. Appreciate you.
I have food in my mouth. I'm doing the like, oh shit.
No, you're all good. But thank you. Thank you. All right, y'all. So next is the hermit. So the hermit will represent, and this is just my circle of life interpretation. So you guys don't have to write that down, especially if you're taking notes. Because later on y'all be able to decide what these cards mean to y'all, what they represent as far as like a story would go. So with 9, it's the number of the hermit. One thing that I mentioned before in a past session was that, if you get a different card, or not a different card, but if you get a different deck that doesn't have the same imagery as the Rider-Waite, it's sometimes hard to interpret when you're used to seeing a specific image for the picture. So make sure that y'all remember the names and most importantly, the numbers of these major arcana cards, because sometimes the hermit could be something completely different. But if you know that 9 is the hermit, then it won't trip you out. Like I had a deck that had a whole bunch of goddesses as like the name of the cards. So it would be hard to decide like, oh, what is this card? Because it doesn't say hermit. It says something completely different. And then you got to figure out what the hell the number is or whatever. So I always swear to people to remember the numbers because they're going to make more sense later when you're, getting different decks. If you do that, because I know I collect tarot decks. So having a variety, it's sometimes not anymore, but it used to be very tricky for me to interpret the cards when they be in another language. or something of the sort. So remembering the number of the major arcana cards would save you a lot later, especially if you want to get different decks. So the Hermit is Virgo. So if you guys are wondering what zodiac sign or planet is associated with the Hermit, it is a Virgo. So in a general interpretation, this card represents internal reflection, soul searching, and the guest. Hold on, y'all, because I cannot see. Okay, I'm gonna have to like squint. In the quest to find the truth and how we would truly like to be of service to not only ourselves but to others. It also represents the changes that need to be made in your daily routine. Get out of your head and into your body. Listen to the signals your body tells you and learn from them. So with Virgo rules the body, most importantly, like the digestive system, things like that. So you guys can take those things into consideration. We will be going more in depth with like the zodiac signs and stuff on Wednesday. So if you guys are wondering like what zodiac sign represents what, or just anything else about astrology when it comes to the zodiac signs, I would definitely say to sign up for Wednesday. Me and Ty will be covering all the zodiac signs. So if you guys have questions about them, Wednesday would be the best day to get some insight about that. When it comes to love and relationships, this card could show up as a need to do some reflecting on how you judge and criticize yourself and others. Also, a need to review what areas you can improve on when it comes to self-love and how you show love. So with the Hermit is really like the solitude card. Like you're not really going to get much out of a relationship or career or anything for that matter with the Hermit, because it's asking you to, it's like kind of like, what do you think, you know? So that's what the Hermit card would usually insinuate when it comes out in any spread, is that your opinion is valid. You know, your opinion is needed in the situation. And there's some heavy reflecting that needs to be done regardless of what the question is. This is, you know, Spirit encouraging you to reflect on it, get more context, so on and so forth. So in finances and career, there's a need to change specific habits and transition into a better routine to attract better abundance and show up in your career as the most optimal version of you. There's a need to reflect on what areas of your career needs refining. I love that. I already said something about reflecting, but it comes up again. So just keep that in mind. The Hermit represents reflection. No matter how you pull it or how you shuffle it, it's going to, you know, double down to reflection in some way. So in the spiritual journey spread, this card shows up when it's time to start improving self so that you can show up more authentically in your service to others. This signifies a time of what they call hermit mode, which means you sit with yourself and connect to discover how you need to change your diets, habits, routines, and mindsets so that you can be the best you. It's also signifying the journey in connecting back to your purity, detox your gut, and trust its signals. So yeah, the Hermit, like I said before, it rules the digestive system. So that basically means like, you know, it's important, especially if you have like Virgo placements or a specific house with Virgo. It's very important to pay attention to your gut when Virgo shows up, because Virgo's gonna make you get your shit together. Do we have any Virgos in here? I'm curious.
I learned in sidereal astrology that I'm a Virgo moon, but in tropical, I don't think I have any Virgo on my chart.
Oh, I love that Virgo moon. You feel like you're an emotional eater?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I have Virgo in my sixth house. I don't think I have any like planets with Virgo, but I know my Gemini sun or my Gemini placements are in the sixth house, which is Virgo. So we will be getting more into astrology on Wednesdays if y'all want to sign up for that. Oh yeah, that does count. I feel like if you have any placements in the sixth house, it counts still. Your mom's a Virgo and you're a Venus Virgo. I love that. Love that. I love Virgos. I'm a Gemini, so me and Virgos are like siblings, but we butt heads sometimes. But it's okay. It's like sibling stuff, you know, like I bump heads with my siblings, but you know, we bounce back. I feel like I bounce back with Virgos. Virgo moon, Venus, sidereal, Virgo sun. Ooh, okay. Okay, Lanisha. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of like squinting like an old lady, but that's what I get for being blind. Wonder what that might be. I'm gonna look into that. But yeah, I don't know if me and Ty are gonna go into the body parts that the zodiac signs rule went tomorrow, not tomorrow, but Wednesday. Um, but I will still cover that in the class. So that way when you guys are doing y'all's readings, y'all can interpret certain things like body parts and things to pay attention to in that aspect. But Virgo's always gonna be the gut feeling. Um, or just, your digestive issues, things like that. But are we good to move on from the Hermit? Next is the Wheel of Fortune, which I
Yes.
love. All right, thank you, Boo.
You're welcome. I'm over here tearing this Indian food up. I gotta keep unpausing
Ooh,
myself.
no, I love that. Eat your Indian food, Boo.
Yes, I need the spice right now. I'm feeling spicy. Definitely eat my emotions.
That sounds good. All right, so we got the Wheel of Fortune here. This is going to represent time and opportunity. So if y'all pay attention to the way that I've set up these little subtitles, like I said earlier, they're going to represent, the different constructs that make up our reality. So hopefully that helps y'all better understand the cards. Something that helped me when I started reading was associating one word with each card. So this is just kind of my, take on that, but just with the more, open mind perspective based on my relationship that I've built with my cards. So this is ruled by Jupiter. And I actually love that it's ruled by Jupiter because it would make sense, because Jupiter is expansion, and possibilities. It's luck. The Wheel of Fortune represents luck. So I'm sure we've all seen the Wheel of Fortune. And we know that that is basically where you spin a wheel and whatever it lands on, it's either what you get or what you don't get. But the Wheel of Fortune is basically going to take on that concept and basically give you more perspective as to, what can happen or what cannot happen, just because it's all about possibilities with the Wheel of Fortune and not so much a set in stone thing. So anytime you pull a Wheel of Fortune, that's where things are very unsure. Things could still be, aligning. Things could not be set in stone, or it could just represent, the chances, honestly. So in a general spread, this card represents karma and the infinite cycle of energy. What you put out is what you get. There's also an indication of luck or something that is destined to happen. Life is progressing and opportunities are aligning and revealing themselves to you. In love, this card could represent meeting a soulmate soon. It is also an indicator of shifting into a new cycle of love or the relationship needing to be shaken up. And then in finances and career, this card signifies the universe working with you to open up doors in your career or to bless you with more abundance. It can also signify needing to flow with what changes are showing up in your career. They might be significant. Maybe the Wheel of Fortune could be a sign to slow down too, because things could happen. Anything could happen with the Wheel of Fortune, honestly. So slowing down with this card, when this card comes up, it's probably the wise thing to do. Just because things are shifting like crazy, and you want to make sure that you got a level head. And then we got spiritual journey here. So this card can signify needing to see the bigger picture and where life is taking you. It can also symbolize to open up your energy to the many paths available to you. It can also signify needing to trust in the grand scheme and ride life's wave. We love that. But yeah, with the spiritual journey, well, with this card period, I feel like that thing's gonna shift. It's like you spin that wheel and anything could happen. You could get $1 million, you could get $0, you could go bankrupt with the Wheel of Fortune. It is all about chances, and that is why you have to, go with the flow with this card, because it's got a mind of its own. So reversals will be done a little bit later down the line. I want to make sure everybody's able to understand the upright position first, because reversals get a little tricky. So I will be doing something for the reversal meanings, but it won't be right now because I feel like that will be a lot of pressure on people to remember that. But I got you. Boo. We'll definitely get into the reversals. All right. So I'm gonna give y'all some time to look over that. Y'all just let me know when y'all ready to move on. I hate when songs get stuck in my head. It's literally the worst thing that could happen. Because then I don't know how to stop singing it. You know what? I looked at the sun and it's not that bad. It's just not as long as the other ones, and that's okay. I'm like, do I just go back and edit it? But I think the sun's cool. I think it's fine the way that it is. I don't even know if we're gonna get to that today, honestly. How are y'all feeling?
Is it how many cards are? Is it 22 that are in the major arcana?
That is correct. It's 22.
Okay.
In total, yes, including the full,
Okay.
because the full 0, but you know, all in total it is 22.
Okay.
All right. All right, you guys. Next is gonna be justice. Are we ready to get our justice on? I need to find my phone charger because I might be going to the gym after this, and I need to have my music. That's literally the worst. Go ahead.
Okay, for the Wheel of Fortune, what sign is that one?
So it's not a zodiac sign, it's the planet Jupiter.
Oh, it's the planet. Okay.
But Jupiter, Sagittarius. So if you want to see it as Sagittarius, you can, just because it's ruled by Jupiter, but the planet that it's associated with is Jupiter.
Jupiter, okay.
So with the major arcana, it's kind of like a mixture of the signs and the planets.
And baby.
Just keeping that in mind.
And baby.
Okay, D'Angelo. Thank you.
You're welcome, boo. All right. We good to move forward?
Yes.
Perfect. Oh, okay. My laptop's going against me. So I got justice here, just representing the divine law. Not the card, but the sign that's associated with justice is Libra, which I think a lot of people get because we think of Libra. Libra is literally the scales. So that is basically the sign that we will associate with justice. So with the general spread, the odds are in someone's favor. The decision has been made, and as long as you're on the righteous side of things, things will go as you expected. Okay, my body is being weird today. So next we got love and relationships. When it comes to love, you're aligning with whatever is a reflection of you. I actually didn't do this spread, not the spread, but I didn't do this slide. So I'm gonna add a little bit more into this. So when it does come to love and relationships with justice, this could basically represent, you know, there was an argument or some type of a dispute or miscommunication that's being resolved. So just kind of keeping that in mind. It could also represent, you know, I guess just differences being set to the side, you know, kind of finding more similarities between the said person and you. And even going as far as, you know, opening up more, getting more out of the situation, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a, you know, love interest. It's really just being more open and expressive rather than suppressing things, because, you know, issues can't be resolved when we're biting our tongues. So this will basically, you know, represent someone having to express something that could be bothering them, or, you know, expressing something that, you know, they've just been wanting to say, didn't know how to say. So it's one of those things where when it comes to relationships with the justice card, it's more about, you know, being honest and open with whoever, you know, is on the receiving end. So next we have finances and career. On a financial career level, there's a new sense of balance being restored. The way you receive things could come in a natural way, or maybe something that comes naturally to you. So yeah, with finances and career, I always like to see justice card as representing, like, you know, I always see this as like, you know, issues being resolved with the justice card. So in any way that you flip it, whether it is love, whether it's career, it's basically going to resemble things being resolved or come into some type of conclusion. So this could be a work dispute or a job not working out, and maybe, you know, things being, you know, altered to your favor. But yeah, I always see where things are, you know, working out for you rather than working against you. So when it does come to finances and career, you can see this as, going to a new job or a new environment that is more, of an ease for you rather than a discomfort. And then interpreting this in a spiritual, advice type of thing, we would see this as, I guess I'll just read it because I was about to butcher that. But within our journey, we sometimes struggle to find what is truly meant for us. Justice can symbolize being in the right space and overcoming old obstacles to find the balance that works best for you. So yeah, like justice is one of those cards. It's like, okay, this makes sense, especially when it's a card that's a common word that we know. Like I know for me, hermit was something that like I knew of. I was like, oh, hermit, hermit crab. But justice, strength, the lovers, those cards are usually the easiest to interpret because it's kind of self-explanatory in a way. So they're usually easier to interpret, whereas let me think, the fool, right? Fool, for example, or the magician, for example, may not be the easiest to interpret because some people are not really familiar with those words. They're not really sure how to interpret a card with those words on it. I don't think I gave the best examples because I don't know, maybe it's because now I know what they mean. But I guess for someone that's coming into tarot for the first time, may not have a good, the idea of what those cards can mean. But yeah, words like justice and, the moon, the sun, all that could be a little bit easier to interpret. But yeah, we are going to be doing, do I know my tarot? 12, I believe is, I don't even know. I ain't even gonna sit here and lie. The Hanged Man.
I always feel like the justice card, well, I like the symbolism with the justice card aligns with the comedic deity, Ma'at. Like
Yeah.
keeping your heart as light as a feather, giving and receiving easily and freely. I love it.
Yeah.
I resonate so much with the justice card because I'm a Libra moon in tropical
Really?
astrology.
I love that. I love that.
So sometimes my issue is, like you said, like speaking up and not trying to like, consider how everybody else feels. And I mean, consider how they feel, but not to my own detriment.
I get that. Libra moon. I don't think I've met many Libra moons. So I'm gonna say you're the first just because I don't have any like Libra moons in mind. Like I don't have anybody that I associate with that.
Yes. A Libra moon and a Pisces sun and a freaking Aquarius rising. I'm all over the place.
Hey, that's okay.
I want to be by myself, but I love people.
Well, that's where you gotta figure out, okay, I'm gonna have this as my alone time, and then I'm gonna go spend time with these people on these days, or I love that though. We got some Libras up in here. I know that's right, Libra gang. I don't think I have any Libra planets, honestly. I know I have something in my 7th house. Is that my phone? I'm like, am I popular or is that somebody else?
That's me.
Oh, okay. I was like, no, ain't nobody texting me. I'm on do not disturb. But I'm just hearing it. I'm like, because when I have these headphones on, everything around my table like picks up. So I'm like, is that Tom? But it's good to know it's not me. So now I know I ain't tripping. Okay, dokie. So next is going to be the Hanged Man. We are about to go ahead and go to that card. Hopefully everybody's good to go. Okay, well, I hope so. All right, y'all. We got the Hanged Man here. Now for this subtitle, I put Sacrificial Lamb because I feel like with the Hanged Man, kind of have to be, self-sacrificing. Just because with the Hanged Man, this card is basically going to resemble somebody that's shifting their thought patterns about something, their beliefs, their truths, so on and so forth. The planet that's associated with this is Neptune. So if you know anything about Neptune, Neptune represents, dreams, illusions, addictions, so on and so forth. So Neptune is really like everything under the sun, as far as, altering, and things like that go. So it's actually very fitting that it's the Hanged Man because sometimes we see things while we're wearing rose-colored glasses and it may not be the truth. So we have to be able to be open to different perspectives and other things so that we're not limiting ourselves. So with the general spread, we'll have ultimate surrender, sacrifice, or feeling like you are suspended in time. This card symbolizes a need to have patience. This also represents missing opportunities because of being lost in the sauce. In loving relationships, this can indicate needing to release people, places, and things that do not reflect your highest good. There's also a need to stop overextending for others and figure out how you can get out of your illusion first. And then we got finances and career. This card can symbolize feeling unclear about what direction to take. I don't know why I was about to read something else. Let the divine take control in this situation. A fresh perspective change is needed. Look past the illusion of feeling like a passenger. And then for spiritual journey, we have this card symbolizes the need to stop and stare to figure out what areas of your life you are clinging on to. This card also represents sacrifices that need to be made to enhance your spiritual foundation. So I love the Hanged Man because this card basically encourages us to think differently. The Hermit's more so, what do you think? But the Hanged Man is really getting that wider perspective, because sometimes we're just stuck in our own little box and we only see things from that little perspective. Whereas when we do shift into a much larger, environment, we can see that some things may not be the way that we expect them to be, or the way that we visualized them or felt them to be. It's kind of like, how they say, we all have different perspectives. And it makes me think of this quote. I think it was a meme, but I'm gonna call it a quote. But it basically said that, let's say you got someone standing in front of a 9 and you have someone standing behind the 9. The person that's standing behind it is going to see the 9 as a 6, whereas the person in front of it's going to see it as a 9. Both are right. They just have different perspectives, and that's kind of how, it is in modern times. Sometimes we believe the same things, but we're perceiving it differently. So it makes miscommunications happen, makes arguments happen, disputes, fights, so on and so forth. So sometimes it's hard to see beyond our perspective because we're so focused on it that it's hard to see other people's perspective and how they look at things. When 9 times out of 10, we probably thinking the same thing. Like I'll be seeing people on Twitter arguing about something that they're both agreeing to. They both believe the same thing. They're just arguing because somebody said a different word, or so it's the little things. But I think that with the Hanged Man, this encourages us to realize, like, we're not the only ones that are here. We're not the only ones with a certain perspective. We have to see what other people think, and not to take that on as our truth, but to at least get some perspective, because it's important. We don't want to be stuck in our own ways of thinking, especially if, the truth is literally right in front of us and we're denying it because it's comforting to live a lie, So the Hangman just basically is encouraging us to seek more truths, rather than being limited to lies. We don't like that. But yeah, that is the Hanged Man. Any questions about these cards? Sorry, I didn't ask y'all earlier if y'all had questions about these cards. But if y'all do, the floor is open. Y'all can ask away if you need to. But if everything's self-explanatory, then that's good too. All right. We should be good on the Hanged Man. All right, I'm gonna move forward. Slowly moving my finger. I'm like, I don't know if anybody's still stuck on this one, but I'm gonna move forward for now. Hopefully nobody has to go back, but we should be good. All right, next is death. This is going to represent rebirth and cycles. The astrology sign associated with this is Scorpio, because Scorpios typically go through a lot of transformations within their lifetime. So getting into the general portion, the death card represents departure and endings and makes room. Wait, hold the fuck up. I think that might be a typo. It makes room something. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, that don't go right. But obviously, I think they meant to say it makes room for something new to come. It can show what you have survived from. It also represents that changes will be or are occurring in your life. Y'all can tell I'm a Gemini, can't y'all? I'm over here like dissecting this, like this is wrong. The grammar is terrible. It could also predict death as well. It is the card that represents the zodiac sign Scorpio, because death is what Scorpio is associated with. Great. I already said that. Next is love and relationships. In a relationship, death could mean that a period of development is coming to an end, indicating the ending of a partnership. It will also show up if you are resisting the change and departure of your relationship. So I'm gonna stop right here and say that sometimes it does not always mean like endings of relationships. It can, but it can also signify that the relationship is going through its own transformation. So just keep that in mind. I don't remember who did this slide, but Yeah, I'm gonna critique things that I don't resonate with just because I want to give you all my perspectives too, because this was a group thing. But the group is no longer, so I'm still holding on to this because I can to share with y'all because I started it. So getting into finances and career, it challenges you to take a risk and leave your current job slash position and go for something new or different. It welcomes you to have confidence and trust to start a new cycle. And then spiritual journey, to be able to let go and give up what makes you complacent. It's that push for you to be able to be comfortable with changes and things ending for something new to come along. It gives that courage to not be afraid anymore and leave fear behind. So I actually love the death card. I know when I first started reading tarot, I would see a lot of people like have all these like debunking the death card type of posts. Because a lot of people would associate death with like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die, or something like that. But it really just represents, transformations, which are great and they're needed. And the death card reminds us that everything is temporary. So I actually love this card for that because it gives us, incentive to, see beyond our comfort zone. So the death card always initiates change in some form or fashion, whether it be good or bad change. But a lot of people assume it's, negative change, but it doesn't have to be. So just keep that in mind. Okay, Chastity, did you mean to do that? I see like a little squiggle on my screen.
I can definitely relate to like how you said like initially you started off like feeling like, oh my God, like feeling is negative whenever it shows up in a reading. But now the more and more I connect with the cards, I'll be like, oh, okay, like this is like I see it the same way I see the Tower card now. Like, okay, whatever this was, it was built on like a shaky foundation. It's time for like rebirth. Like it's not necessarily like, I mean, death is a part of that, but you got to destroy in order to build anew.
That's a fact. Talk your talk. Is it Zakiya? Zakiya. Okay, that name's pretty. But yeah, I love that. Because a lot of people have a negative connotation with the card, but through a lot of connecting with the cards, shadow work, and going through my own transformations, I start to see these negative cards as not so negative anymore. Because I like even when I started, I wasn't one of those cards. I was like, but I knew that it was going to be uncomfortable, so the death card and the Tower usually make people like frantic, but I feel like it's a card to shake things up in our lives. Which is very important. We need things to be shaken up sometimes. Sometimes we just living on the same cycle, and these cards come up and tell us, hey, change something.
It really makes me
think the same thing.
I have a lot of like Scorpio placements as well. Scorpio midheaven, like Scorpio's everywhere in my chart, but I'm really the type of person, like, I don't care for superficial stuff. And when I see the death card, it's like, yeah, everybody wants some superficial shit. And Scorpio, the Pluto energy is like, bitch, it's time to turn this shit up. Like, let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's see what's really going on. We're not playing. We're not doing surface level stuff.
Literally, because with these cards, it's like, if we're repeating a cycle, these cards are going to show up and encourage us to do something different, because we wonder, like, we're like, oh, I'm so stagnant. It's like, okay, well, are you doing anything different than you were doing the other day or a week ago or a month ago or a year ago? Like, you live in the same lifestyle. So sometimes for people it's hard because we usually cling on to what's comforting. But sometimes we can't do that no more. Sometimes that comfort is going to be our downfall. So you got to switch things up. You got to do things differently. I thought this laptop was charging. Hold on, we gotta plug it in real quick. I can't be dying on y'all. That'd be terrible. We got a good flow going today. I love it. Okay. I hate this extension cord. I think it was like $5, so that's why it's acting ghetto. It's definitely acting its price. Like, how do you plug this in? This is annoying. What the hell? Okay, so it's about to be lights out for a second. I have to switch that. Oops. Nothing fits in this side. Like, what? Oh, no. Wow. Ew. I hate that. Well, it'll be fine. It's not like y'all need to see me anyways. It's me still ever trying to figure out how I can plug this up. That is so weird. I don't know. It'll be all right. Just be in the dark. Yeah, this extension cord is good. I'm gonna get it better. Lord. And it's just that my laptop's dying. That's great. Is this extension cord not plugged in? I don't know what the hell's going on. Okay. No, it's hard to see with it being so dark in here. All right, we good on the death card? I think next is temperance, I believe. I could be 1,000% wrong. Oh, I'm not. Period. All right, let's see if I can plug this up under here. Ew. I hate when people that don't, you know what? I was gonna get into the rant. Then I was like, nah, are they really worth ranting about? But yes, they are, because don't hit me up after all this time. Don't do that. Mercury retrograde, just because we in the shadow period, Mercury retrograde, don't mean you need to be hitting me up. It's annoying.
That was disgusting. Like all these old people reaching out, like, ew.
I know.
Do you
I'm
see
like,
me now?
what?
Like they don't even have the same things in common. Like, what ew?
Oh, God.
Get away.
No, for real.
Go away.
And it's crazy because I haven't been responding. Like, I've left this man on open before.
Mine has been a lot of cancers. I'm just ew. I'm so grossed out by cancers. I'm like, leave me alone, please. Y'all are crazy.
Cancels. I'm actually talking to, well, he's a Leo tropical in the Cancer side room. And I don't know, it's my first Cancer Leo. it's my first. So I don't know. It's going good. But that's the thing I hate. Like when I start liking somebody and I got a good thing going, the randoms just want to hop out the woodwork. I had somebody message
like
me
they
last night.
feel it.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, I know you talking to somebody else, but I don't care. I'm like, I care. I'm gonna start blocking people. Like that's where I met with it. I had somebody message me last night. And I don't remember what he said, but he was like, he said something. I was like, can I get a $200? He was like, damn, it's like that. And I was like, yeah, it is. God, there's a fee to message me because I have a man. So if you ain't coughing up some money, we can't talk.
Right.
Oh,
Crazy. All right, y'all. So next is temperance. And I called this the transmutation card because that's what it represents. The temperance card is going to represent the alchemist, which is somebody that can turn anything to anything. So a bad day to a good day, a dime to 100 or whatever. This is basically going to be the card that encourages you to shift things with your ability, with your mind. Most importantly, it's usually the mind. But yes, temperance. So this card is usually depicted as someone holding two different cups, and the cups are kind of flowing into each other to basically represent transmuting energies. So the general interpretation, let me not forget that this is Sagittarius as well. The Sagittarius being the guru, being the person that is, the teacher, the philosopher. So basically being able to turn that frown upside down. Okay. So we have general being the alchemist is not always easy. When seeing temperance, this is a clear sign to bring more moderation into your life. Transmutation will require a cleared mental space and a lot of faith. So we went from death card, having to, let some things go, put some things to an end, to come into a space where we just had an ending. So now what? Usually that's where people's minds go. When there's an ending, they're like, okay, what do I do now? Like, what's next? This just happened. What do I do now? So you take that situation that came to an end, use that energy to help bring in something that you do want. Like when people send us evil eye or throw negative energy at us, we don't just let them throw in negative energy at us and we be okay with it. We're either going to take it and send it back, or we're going to transmute it, which is where we take that negative energy and apply it to a specific area of our life where we want more, abundance, So let's say, for example, somebody sees you just bought your own house, right? And they're like, oh, you don't deserve your house. I hope you lose your home, da 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 da. When someone sends you that energy, you take that and you're like, nope, I'm going to use this energy to stay in my home and have more stability. So now financially I'm stable and don't have to worry about bills no more or whatever, So we take the energy and use it for something else, something more vital to our experience. So in loving relationships, this is knowing that you are capable of healing your past wounds. It's also learning to rely on self and not be codependent on those around you. So the way that I would interpret this for loving relationships will more so be being in a position where, you have to give and take in your relationship. There's more harmony in your connections, rather than it being one-sided or being too much where it is codependent and unhealthy. It's more free flowing, so I always see temperance as flowing, going with the flow. So this could be applied to damn near every single interpretation here, because go with the flow could be anything. We're moving on to finances and career. This is having the control over your finances and career while also being able to manage the other things in your life. This is mastering and taking full control responsibility within these matters. So another way that I would interpret this is really being in that space where, you're not giving all of your time and attention to work or play or whatever. It's more, of a balance. So balance is key with temperance. And I think a lot of these cards, have their own indicator for balance. So we'll see a theme here with the next few cards. Excuse me. Because we're coming out of a period of death, we're coming out of a period of having to transform. So that's where things start to get more intense with the major arcana, because we just had a rough ending. So it's like these next cards are how we, rebuild from that. So this is like our trial and error phase with the major arcana. So in the spiritual journey, you're learning how to be present. You'll be learning how to use materials you've been given to channel out energies you're looking to have reciprocated. So I love this. And as y'all know, Sagittarius is like an arrow pointing up, which is very important. Symbolism is such a big thing for me, and I cannot wait to get to that part of, our studies, because I can't wait to share the different symbols and things like that to help y'all better understand the cards, because these cards have their own symbols within them. Like the temperance has the cups, and cups are their own suit in tarot. So be able to show you guys how to interpret the major arcana cards using symbolism, because you're going to see a lot of the suits, wands, cups, swords, pentacles in the major arcana. So once we learn those cards, you guys will be able to look at the major arcana and be like, oh, I see pentacles here. Oh, I see a wand here. So that may mean X, Y, and Z. Because these meanings that I'm giving you guys, it's so much more beyond it. And, I can't wait to do some activities with you guys so you guys can, look a little bit, farther into y'all's interpretations. So that'll be fun. Hopefully we finish the major arcana tonight. I don't know. We might be able to. We actually getting a lot done. I love it.
I saw that we were on 14. I'm like, oh, we're almost done.
I know we almost there. We getting there. We are getting there. I love it. All right. So does anybody have any questions about temperance or any of the other cards? All right, we should be good then. Do we need to move forward, or is anybody still getting familiar with temperance? Can I see slide 12 and 11 real quick, just to screenshot? Yeah, just let me know when you're done screenshotting. Anybody need this slide before I go back for Gabby? All right, you take that as a yes. All right, you said 11 and 12. Oh my gosh, why do they do me like this? All right, here's 11. Move my mouse out the way. Just let me know when you got your screenshot in. All right, and here is 12. Guys, I'm screenshotting this. I'm about to screenshot. All righty. You're welcome, boo. All right, let's go to 15, which is the devil. Everybody hates this card. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why, but you know, Capricorn rising here. I'm like, why does everybody hate the devil? But I get it. I get it. I understand. So when I had first learned tarot myself, it was one of those cards where I did not want to see it because first of all, where is my, I'm gonna show y'all. That card used to scare the shit out of me. I don't know if it was just a picture, but I hated this fucking card. Look at him. Anytime I saw that card on a spread, I'd be like, he just looks ugly. He used to scare me. Like, why you look like that? He looks so scary. Like, look at him. Anytime that card came out for me, I'd be like, oh my God. Like, I'd be scared for my life. But I put this under sins just because, you know, I wanted to make it something that we're all, you know, able to relate to. We all sin. Nobody's perfect in here unless you are perfect. But nothing about saying we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to do things that we don't really want to do or things that we shouldn't be doing, so on and so forth. But yeah, I put this as sins just because that's what the devil represents. So the astrological, oh shit. Look, the devil's here. I'm just good plan. But the sign is Capricorn. And you know, the Capricorn is the goat, sea goat, but you know, the goat and the devil associated with the goat, you know, all that symbolistic stuff. But we got the general interpretation here. So the devil represents where you may need help with maintaining balance. It indicates that you have been self-sabotaging and not making the best decisions. It could also indicate the ego and the eagerness to be self-serving and selfish. It gives you a reality check. And that is very true. The devil represents our shadow, honestly. I think that would have been an even better thing to put right there. Instead of sins, I could have just put shadow. Because that's what it represents. You know, it represents our, you know, the part of us that we don't really like, you know, we don't really like looking at it. We'd be like, ew, I don't like this about me. And I was learning more about shadow work last night because I have a class about surrounded by shadow work. And it was talking about, you know, how our shadow was the things that we repress and are ashamed of. So things that we shame about ourselves, things that we dislike in other people that we dislike in ourselves. So the devil will, you know, entail the shadow aspects that we usually don't want to talk about or, you know, show other people, so on and so forth. So next we have love and relationships. This can indicate that the connection we're experiencing is karmic. It could also represent seduction, passion, and fascination. The devil can also show the unhappiness of relationships in someone who is manipulative and doesn't have good intentions. That's very true. The devil can represent abusive connections. Karmic connections are typically people that, you know, are here to teach us something like a major lesson or someone that we are in debt to or they're in debt to us. So if you guys are into reincarnation like myself, then you'll know that, you know, we may have certain past life connections that didn't go so well. You know, a lot of sour connections come up in this lifetime as well. So sometimes y'all get that familiar feeling like, oh, I know you from somewhere. Yes, you slept with their husband in a past life or something to that extent. You know, it could be some wild shit. So sometimes we do feel connected to people, and that's because we, you know them from past lives, or because, you know, we did something foul to them in a past life, or they did something foul to us in a past life. And in this current lifetime, we either find a way to make it up to them, or we got to go through some type of lesson or some type of karmic situation to get the lesson from the situation, especially if we did something bad to them in a past life. Because we were not saints in our past lives. We're not saints in this lifetime. We just trying to be better. We just trying to be better humans. And I love that. But I think that the devil card encourages us to take accountability in all of these aspects, you know? So next is finances and career. This card can warn you against becoming lost in materialism. It could show business deals that aren't so great and will take part in illegal activity. This could be scamming. This could be robbing, stealing, a whole bunch of messed up stuff when it comes to money. Because, they say money is the root of all evil, but it's the person behind the money. If you have money and you're doing foul things, then, money is just an object. Just like tarot is just an object. We can't be like tarot cards are evil. If your intention with the tarot cards is good, then the cards wouldn't really be on no evil-ish. Same thing goes with finances and career, just making sure that your heart's in the right place when you are spending your money or doing things for money, because it could get into that too. So next is spiritual journey. On a spiritual level, the devil shows you your shadow side. This is where you become aware of what you're struggling and whether it's addictions and negative behaviors and patterns, etc. It's when you're able to face your shadow self and see the area as of basically where we improve. I cannot do typos or just, I don't know. The Gemini in me is like, nope, not even gonna try to read that. No, sir. But yeah, hopefully y'all got the gist of that. Representing the shadow, and finances, more so just doing things you're supposed to be doing for money, but do it anyways, because maybe, instant gratification. I think that's also a really good interpretation for the devil too. It is instant gratification for all of these. We can look at it and say, with love and relationships, people get in relationships, toxic relationships, because they don't want to be alone, doing something illegal for money because you need to pay your bills tomorrow. Or within our spiritual journey, having to face our shadow, because we want our, it's the more the more not so pleasing part of ourselves to be seen, because we're worried about how people may view that side of us. But we gotta stop caring. We gotta stop caring about what people think. That is really a lot of people's downfall, is worrying about what people think about them. I'm sure the devil at one point had to be like, I don't care what people think about me, probably in the beginning he was like, oh my gosh, everybody hates me. And then I guess he just, fell into his role of being the devil. But yeah, that is the devil card. If you guys are ready to move forward, just let me know and we're gonna do that. All righty. Yes, the Lover's card was, I think, last week. We did the Lover's card last week. But that's okay. I sent the group chat link in the comments, but I'm gonna share it again just in case. I'm gonna have to make like a hold on. I have to make like a little folder or playlist for the tarot masterclass so that y'all can go back over everything that y'all missed. But I'm gonna move forward. We got the tower here. Lord Jesus, have mercy. How we go from the devil to the tower? Chaos, right? So chaotic.
And I was just thinking the same thing. Like, as you go, like, I'm putting the cards, I'm like, wait, ew, we went from the devil.
The devil and the tower. You get back to back chaos. We love that. But yeah, we just went through the death and rebirth. So that puts us in a very vulnerable space. We're very vulnerable. We're trying to do better. We're trying to grow and get it together, but temptation. Okay, temptation. Temptation. But yeah, I put chaos in order here because I feel like it's very important that we understand that chaos is necessary sometimes. Sometimes it shakes things up, and it makes our lives a little exciting. I know we love seeing other people in drama sometimes, but we hate it when it's us. When it's us, it's like, oh no, like why me? But sometimes you just gotta allow yourself to be entertained so it's not that bad. But in a general interpretation, oh, hold on, I keep skipping the freaking planet and astrological sign like it's not right there. This is ruled by Mars.
Isn't Mars isn't Aries ruled by Mars?
That is correct. Aries and Scorpio to an extent. Scorpio has 2 rulers. Scorpio has Pluto and Mars. So you take that into consideration too. But yeah, with this planet, we got Mars. Mars is literally an intense planet as far as this goes, because the Mars can also represent, transformation in some ways, just more so transforming the things that, we don't need, taking those things out. This is also, our passions, the things that, motivate us and push us. So with the Tower card, this is really, motivating us to make certain changes, especially since with Tower moments, it's an indication that, our foundation isn't solid. So it basically pushes us to make better decisions and, do things a lot easier. So, we just come out of that, that death and rebirth situation, and we go from that to having to fix things and try to put things back together. It's basically like putting a band-aid on a gunshot wound with the temperance card, because you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna flow over here and flow over there. But there's more groundwork that needs to be done. So after temperance, we go to the devil, and the devil was just like, oh, I'm gonna control you. Like you thought you was getting by easily. No, I'm stopping you. It's kind of like that troll on the bridge, under the bridge, with the riddles and shit. That's like, you got to get past the troll. And then when you get past the troll, you get to the tower, which is encouraging us to make some necessary changes, and maybe doing things a little bit differently so that our foundation's solid. You know what? The tower makes me think of what is it? The Three Little Pigs? Is that I think it is, with the big bad wolf. Yeah, that's the vibe I get with the tower, because they go from using straw to using something else to having to use bricks in order to, have a solid home. So when y'all think of tower and y'all need something to remember it by, think of the Three Little Pigs, because I feel like that'd probably be the best, tale or story that could represent that. So hopefully that makes sense for those that do know that story. If you don't know the story, sorry. I tried. I tried to make it easy. But yeah, I think that's very valid, actually. And that just came to me. So I might do like a little, I don't know, I have so many ideas for activities, y'all. It's crazy. But I'm thinking like now we can like do each tarot card. Well, not each tarot card, but mostly the major arcana, because I feel like these are going to be the most difficult to remember. Because the other ones are just of coins, of pentacles, of swords, of so on and so forth. But these cards are just their own individual self. So maybe we can do like a story for each major arcana card or something later down the line. But in a general interpretation, this card symbolizes an abrupt life-changing event or situation that has to occur for you to move forward in your journey. Usually it is one that is very uncomfortable. It also symbolizes the breakdown of crumbling of a major foundation, whether you want it to or not, which you may know as a tower moment. We love those. So fun. Yay. Getting into love and relationships, this card can represent the energy of a relationship being stagnant or avoiding uncomfortable conversations. Both parties may not be accepting of the destruction of the structure in said relationship. It could also signify the end of a relationship. Now, this one, ain't no going around it. If the tower comes out for your relationship, you either gonna have to put a lot of elbow grease into the connection or call it a quits, because it's really hard to say the relationship's gonna last when the tower card comes out, because it could represent an abrupt ending, like just I was like, oh, ain't no saving that with the tower card. Or it could just represent the fact that this relationship needs a more solid structure, foundation in order for it to thrive. Which all of these things can be interpreted that way. Because when we think about our lives, we, don't really have structure, stability, because our structure and stability is the same old routine every single day. So when you realize that's not working, you got to try again. And always encourage people to think about what their foundation consists of, because a lot of people don't stand on anything. A lot of people just go with the flow or just do whatever and think that's enough. But then we run into these tower moments, which can be avoided when you have a structure that works for you. And sometimes you have a foundation, or sometimes you have a tower moment even when you have a good foundation, because you may need something else. Or maybe you've reached a place in that said foundation where you don't need that foundation anymore, and now you have to create a new one. So with love and relationships, this card represents the energy of a relationship being stagnant or avoiding uncomfortable conversations. Both parties may not be accepting of the destruction. I already read that. I did. Well, maybe somebody needed that again. Just kidding. Okay, so we're going to move on to finances and career. This card could signify finances or career bringing a lot of stress. This could also symbolize events that are bound to happen surrounding this area of life to push you out of your comfort zone. Do not fear negative events in regards to money, situations, or losses. So next is spiritual journey. This card could signify the transitions into a dark night of the soul type of energy. It also represents an event that is much needed to propel you to get out of stagnancy and indecision. It is also a warning that something major is going to happen and to stay ready so you don't have to get ready, period. But yeah, the Tower card is, it's like going to the principal's office. You know what I'm saying? When you're in school and just having to sit across from the principal, the dean, whoever, your boss, whoever, sitting across from them and just knowing you done fucked up, knowing you done made a mistake. This is where we don't shame ourselves, because I feel like with shame, it makes it harder to make changes. But just like when you go to the principal, your behavior has to change in some way. Why were you shouting in class? What made you want to shout? Do you need some attention? This is where we take reflection to a whole other level. This is the ultimate shadow work card. Okay, so when the Tower card comes out, you're going to have to get to the root of the situation rather than focusing on, the surface. Because sometimes looking at the surface don't really help when you got a root that is just, I don't even know. Oh, shit. My bad for anyone that's wearing their headphones. But yeah, like they say with plants, some plants need their root to be, attended to, because the soil could be really bad or something else could be wrong. So if you're just focusing on the outside, you're forgetting that the inside also needs some work. So inner work is very important when this card comes out, because it just tells you that something within it's got to be changed, or it's got to be adjusted or something. Otherwise, you're going to keep getting the Tower moment. You're going to keep getting the Tower card. We don't want to keep getting the Tower card. It's not a bad card, but it's not something you want to see every single time you pull your cards out, because then that means you're avoiding something. So it's very important to see this card and figure out, okay, what needs to be changed, what needs to be reflected on. And if you're like me, when I read for myself, I keep going until I get to the bottom of everything. So let's say we get the Tower card and I'm like, okay, well, what am I missing? What am I not seeing that's messing up my foundation? And then I pull cards on that. And then what comes out, I see that, okay, now how can I go about adding this into my foundation, so on and so forth. So sometimes you have to take that approach with your cards, especially if you are, not as self-aware. You're not really sure as to what's going on. And that's why I love tarot, because it's helped me become more self-aware and call myself out on my BS, especially when I didn't see it, because sometimes we go through life just taking on what we've learned and not realizing that a lot of things we learned have probably been hurting us, haven't really been so useful along our journey and path. So it's just important to make sure that, you're taking, the proper approaches to reflect instead of, being your own enabler, because that makes life a lot harder when you're doing something that is hurting you and you're like, oh, this is perfectly fine. This isn't hurting me at all. But you're literally like hurting yourself. Like, you have to make sure that you're like, okay, this does hurt. This does not feel good. Let's do something different. Let's do something that's actually going to bring better results. So yeah, the Tower card is you going to the principal's office because you were shouting in class while they was taking a test or something. I don't know. But yeah, just going to the principal's office. Basically, nobody wants to go to the principal's office for nothing ever. Just don't even feel, just imagine your name on intercom. Can I get so and so to my office, please? Like, no. Everybody's like, ooh, you in trouble? Like, no, no Tower moments for me, please. But they're necessary. Sometimes you gotta get called to the principal's office so you can get your act right. But gotta do what you gotta do. So next is the Star. So as y'all can see, there is a theme here with these cards. They flow together very, very, very well. That's how I mentioned, like, going to the principal's office. The Star could be the guidance counselor, or basically your principal's like, hey, we're going to assign you to do this or that for the next week. And hopefully that helps, So sometimes it's not that we're trying to be bad or trying to do the wrong thing. Sometimes it's just to cry out for help. Sometimes we're doing things for attention or for, a different reason, which is why with the Tower card, you have to go get down deep to the root, so that with the star you can heal that specific thing. So hopefully y'all see how the cards are like, you know, doing their own thing and how they're, you know, interconnected, because it will make it easier to interpret cards when you do start pulling your own readings, whether it be for yourself or for someone in the future. So with the planet or astrological sign, because I was about to move on to the general reading, this is Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius is, excuse me, Aquarius is the water bearer, which basically means that Aquarius is here to give. Okay, Aquarius is here to give to those around them. People will say that Aquariuses are selfish, and I do not believe that for
I'm
a
an
freaking
Aquarius
second.
and I don't believe that either.
Yeah, they be lying. They
We're
be
very
lying on y'all.
giving.
Y'all
We're
are.
very giving.
Y'all are. They be lying on y'all's name. They're like, oh, Aquarius is so numb. Aquarius is, no, they're
We're
not.
cold, we're detached.
The only reason why it seems that way is because y'all actually just, y'all see the bullshit. Y'all see through it. Y'all see through the bullshit. That's it. That's all it is. Everybody's like, oh, they're so cold. They're so mean. Aquarius is just going to keep it real with you. People just don't like that.
Period.
People
We
do
don't
not like
sugarcoat
that.
anything, but
Not
we're
at
gonna say
all.
it how it is.
Yeah, definitely. I love Aquariuses. Oh, shit. I'll do that. But I love y'all. And y'all are very nurturing and very caring, especially with those around y'all. I think the thing with Aquarius is that they do so much for other people that they forget themselves. Y'all want to help everybody too much sometimes. Like, my sister's got that bad. She's got that bad. She's so quick to be like, oh, well, I thought I could fix them. You can't fix nobody. You can't.
We're such humanitarians.
Yeah.
Even the animals. I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could adopt all the animals. The
Yeah.
planet. Oh my God, what's going on? Like, oh my God, too much. I swear, I'm like, oh man, it's just Aquarius in me, you guys.
Yeah. I love that for y'all though. Y'all just have to have that balance between being selfless, and selfish. Like, just has to be a balance there, but that's really it. And that's why the star card depicts someone pouring into themselves and pouring into those around them. So it's really just a balance between the things around you and yourself. So in the general spread, the star is a card of hope, the unconscious will of life, and the insight into higher correlations. It is a sign of positivity and the light at the end of the tunnel. It brings comfort to a reading. It also is linked to wishes and dreams. So with love and relationships, this card can show a promising future in a partnership. It shows the energy of a hopeful, lasting relationship. In finances and career, it represents positive opportunities coming your way. It may show a job promotion, job interviews, and job opportunity, or a pay raise. And then we have the spiritual journey. So this card indicates an intuitive understanding. It embodies the emotional understanding, inner insight, and trusting the universe. It can be characterized as the moment after being in tower moment or tower situation, or phase where you find peace and lightness, no longer having to worry about inner turmoil. So yeah, we just got done with the tower. So boom, the star, healing. We're working on it. So, and that's why I want y'all to look at this as if it's like a story. So y'all could look at the major arcana as different chapters to our lives because it flows just like a story does. So with the star, we go from being in the principal's office and getting in trouble and getting to talking to figuring out, okay, what do we need to work on? What can we change? How can we change it? Let's do it. This is more active healing with the star card. So that's usually when I see the star, I could see somebody's doing the healing or they're doing, some type of inner work to better themselves. But yeah, that's the star. So let's see. Does anybody need to stay on this any longer? Y'all ready to move forward? Oh my gosh, like
I've been feeling like with the star too, like because you're just coming out of that like tower moment, like just like you said earlier, I forgot what card you were talking about. Like you're very vulnerable, you're very sensitive, like he's like naked in some of the cards, like it's like emotionally naked, vulnerable, sensitive.
That makes a lot of sense. See something. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Definitely being in that vulnerable space. It's like, ooh, like the spotlight's on you and you just trying to hide, but you can't go nowhere because the spotlight's just following you everywhere. You're like, no. So the star's definitely going to shed light on a lot of things that you probably don't want it to be shed light on. or just the fear of being seen with the star card too. So I'm gonna assume we good to go. Move forward. I think next is, oh yeah, we got the moon. I love the moon. The moon is fun. Moon is so fun. Sometimes. So this is going to represent illusions and dreams. So yeah, so very intense. And when we're done with all the major arcana cards, which is going to be today, because we're already halfway there, so we're gonna finish them. But I'm gonna go through the slides and just basically show y'all how this story plays out, especially for those that just started today. So the sign that rules the moon is Pisces, because Pisces also, is the dreamer and all of these beautiful things. We love Pisces. But with it being ruled by Neptune, Neptune is the illusions. So sometimes with Pisces, you don't know what you're gonna get. Get a wild card with the Pisces. That's how I like to see the moon card as the wild card, because you don't really know what you're getting yourself into with the moon. So let's go ahead and dive in. General, being faced with illusions and feeling stuck in stagnancy. As you move onward, you'll see a lot of things are not what they seem. Your faith is being tested and you'll be shown what is true to nature and what is not. Love and relationships. When it comes to this, you're stuck in a relationship that may not be supporting your actual needs, but may be fulfilling temporarily. There's only partial of what you may want, but it's not what you truly need to have in your life. Finances and career. What you're doing may not be bringing you the financial security you're seeking, but there could be indecision. There could be a lot of information being hidden in this regard as well. And then we got spiritual journey, learning to pave the way and rely on your intuition. There may be fears and struggles when it comes to being out on your own, but you're learning to do things your way. So I actually love this. Because the moon, when I see the moon, let's go back to the star real quick. So the star, we're healing, we're working on ourselves. When you better yourself, and this is just in general, it has nothing to do with tarot, but when you're bettering yourself, there are going to be so many different things, so many different people that are going to come out and try to change that. Like, oh no, you want to better yourself? Psych. Like, oh no, especially for people that are like, there's some people that, people that are like addicted to drugs. It's just an example I'm gonna throw out there, because Neptune, drugs, all that goes hand in hand. So let's say you have someone that's addicted to a substance. They're doing better, they're getting clean, and then you got an old pal coming out of nowhere talking about, hey, you want to go do this? Like, no, please. Like, why are you testing me right now? So the moon is definitely a card to test your faith. So keep that in mind. We don't have to use that analogy specifically, because we were all addicted to different things. I know for me, I've been tempted a lot recently to just eat meat, but I'm vegan. So that's always hard. I've slipped up, but it's cool.
It's so good. I'm vegan too. And I be in the stores, like I be doing a delivery service and I'll be like shopping orders and I'll just be smelling the chicken like, oh my God.
I'll be like, ooh.
Willpower.
Look, I'm gonna tell y'all, the other day I ate some wings and I didn't feel bad because I watched the video. I always have to find videos to validate my experience in some form or fashion. And I just remember this guy who was saying to eat fruit first, and if you still want it, don't deny your truth. And then I was eating my wings and I was like, yeah, I'm not denying my truth. I want some wings. And then I'm like, okay, well now we feel shitty. So maybe not do that again.
Somebody said I'm vegan, but today my ancestors wanted fried fish, so I'm honoring my ancestors. I laughed so hard.
I love how we try to excuse our bad behavior. We like, just a little something.
Food, so I'm eating me some Southern food, but I'm gonna cleanse tomorrow.
I'm screaming heavy on the cleanse. I'm like, I gotta fast soon. Like, I have to do some type of fasting. Man.
I'm looking at you have the Modern Witch Tarot deck, right?
Yeah, I do.
I'm looking at the imagery, like from the star and the moon. It's like the same scene.
Yeah, they're very like parallel. So you'll start to see like different cards and different cards. You're like, whoa, hold on. But yeah, the star and the moon, I love them. They're very like, because they're like, set at nighttime. So it looks like, but at night things come out. And that's why those two cards are so important, because like I said, you could be tempted to do something that you know you're not supposed to be doing, because the moon card comes out, but the star, you're very vulnerable. So it tries to like get you, tries to like attack, which, you got to avoid. But that's why the next card, oh my gosh, this arrow does not work for nothing. The sun, we have the sun. Okay. So with self-expression, this is where we're able to just be like, look, dude, I don't want to go to the club with you because I'm done partying. This is where we have to just put our foot down and really just be honest. And this is really like the come clean card, where we're just taking accountability. We're like, you know what? I didn't do this right. I lied. I messed up. Whatever we did, we're, owning up to it with the sun. So we go from these two dark cards, or these past cards have been super dark, actually. These past cards have been super dark. The sun is like, yeah, like light at the end of the tunnel. So that's why I love the sun, because it reminds us that, even with all the darkness that we go through, things get brighter sometimes. Like what's the song Tomorrow from Annie? That's the sun. If I could make this a song, it would definitely be that song. But the planet is obviously the sun. People can also look at this as Leo, because the sun is, ruling Leo. So in general is vitality, the center of awe and intelligence of oneself, the will to be your true self, confidence, and joy. So in love and relationships, this is harmonious connections, fulfillment. Also with the sun, this is shedding light on things. And so just like how I was talking about the stars, more like, being in the spotlight, but avoiding it. The sun is being in the spotlight, but embracing it. So you see the polarities here. We go from not wanting to be vulnerable to looking at our vulnerability as a power, or strength rather than a weakness. In finances and career, we can see optimism and joy here, success and great works and achievements. So basically this card can be really good for getting recognized for something. When you think about the sun sign in astrology, this is what is usually depicted as our ego, the person that we are around other people. So this is usually when we are at our best, basically depicted by how we choose to show up. Excuse me. And then we have the spiritual journey, which is achieving great success over one's ego and acquiring unification of higher self and shadow, center of attention. So finding that balance between your shadow, between your shadow and your light self, basically. And in my class, they call it the persona. So the persona being, the ego, and the shadow actually being who you truly are, which I love, because I really resonate with that. I feel like our shadow is more of who we actually are, rather than it being the fake version of us, it's just who we are, but we haven't learned to love it yet. So love that. Believe we have 3 more cards, y'all. Oh God. All right. Is anybody ready to move forward? Anybody got any questions about the sun? I feel like this one's just very simple, straight to the point. I was kind of worried. I was like, oh my gosh, this is not that much information, but I think the sun, we're gonna let it slide because it is the sun. Sun ain't got to do too much. So we can be symbolic with that one. But yeah, next, I believe is, I don't even remember. I know it ain't the world. The world is the last card. Oh, we actually have 2 cards left now that I think about it. I don't know why I said 3. I got 2 cards left. The sun. Why can't I think of what's next? Oh my gosh, nobody tell me, because I'm literally like, I'm just gonna go skip to the next slide. Watch me be mad. Oh my gosh, the sun. No way. No way I'm blanking on this one right now. No freaking way. 20 is I know what 20 is. I just cannot think of the name. Judgment. It's Judgment. It's
Yes.
Judgment. I was like, why can't I think of it? But see, sometimes when that happens to me, because usually like I'll draw blanks. Like I remember one time I was trying to figure out the water signs, and I couldn't get Pisces for nothing. I was like Cancer, Scorpio, just completely drew a blank. And then I was like Pisces, and then I think somebody like a Pisces reached out to me, or something Pisces happened. Some Piscean shit was taking place. So with Judgment, I feel like that's symbolic for me. Maybe I'm going through some type of breakthrough in my own personal life. I always take that as a sign. I'm like, when I draw blanks on certain things, it means something. But all right, we're about to get into Judgment. I was like, because we ain't say Judgment yet. So I knew it had to be something. Oh God, I'm going to be reading this like, oh my gosh, I'm being attacked. So this is repentance. The planet is Pluto. So we have general. This card is referred to as a time of resurrection and awakening, a time when a period of our life comes to an absolute end, making way for dynamic new beginnings. In love and relationships, the Judgment Tarot love meaning indicates a time of self-reflection and analysis initiated by an awakening. Issues in your love life that you once ignored may be seen clearly now, and you have the chance to make adjustments. Within finances and career, you may have to go through a period of self-reflection when it comes to your relationship with money. Sometimes the means evaluating whether your financial habits are hindering your material situation, as well as making the changes necessary to do better. And then within our spiritual journey, when the Judgment card shows up in a reading, it could signal a spiritual awakening or time of profound insight. You'll find yourself having powerful epiphanies regarding parts of your life that are holding you back from growth. It's an affirmation that you know you aren't crazy, you aren't alone, and it was all worth efforts. Period. That makes sense. Actually, maybe I am going through an awakening right now. It's been a while since I've had my own little shifts of energy, so they're probably right. They are probably right. Okay, Amazon, y'all not finna take this money out of my bank account. I'm gonna tell y'all that right now. I gotta figure out how to cancel this membership. I always have the hardest time doing that. Cancellation requested. Your membership will be canceled. I want to cancel it right now. Oh, did I already cancel it? Maybe. I don't know. But see, they be lying. They say it canceled and then they end up taking my money. So I'm gonna make sure that's a lie. I don't know. Why do they make that the hardest? You know what? I know why. I don't know why I'm asking. But they make canceling subscriptions so hard nowadays. Like if y'all don't just put that right in my face so I can do it. They're like, no, we want this to be difficult for you so we can take your money. I think that's pretty messed up. That is messed all the way up, actually. All right. Okay. All right. We're going to go to the last card, which is the world. We're done, y'all. Look, completion being the name of the game. So the world is actually ruled by Saturn, which is surprising in a way because Saturn, I always see Saturn as like discipline, time, all that. So I could see that as like completely different card, but the world is like, Saturn? But Saturn is full of surprises too, so I don't put nothing past Saturn. So the general interpretation, this card symbolizes the ending to a cycle of life and a pause right before the big or the next big cycle before beginning with the full again. This card also symbolizes having an infinite amount of possibilities at your feet. Within love and relationships, this card can represent needing to put more effort into a relationship. This card also represents that you have to put in the work to reap the benefits of where you are currently and to have a peace of mind. In finances and career, this card can represent feeling like your finances are stagnant. When are you holding back in regards to how you show up? It can also represent that you could be traveling for work. It could also represent that you are getting your goals accomplished diligently and effectively. Within spiritual journey, this card signifies that you have went through your karmic lessons and have learned from them. You may feel compelled to share your experiences with the world. This can also signify not taking shortcuts in your spiritual path. Match the effort of what you would like to accomplish. Love that. Y'all, we're done now. We're done with the major arcana.
Orbits on its side or something like that. Is that the one that
the one that orbits on its side is Uranus.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. That's okay.
I think Saturn's just slow.
Okay.
I think Saturn's a slow planet. I think because it's time. Let me look it up actually, because gotta feed my brain somehow.
That aligns though. I think you're definitely right. I feel like you're definitely right with the Uranus because I think I was watching Aquarius, and it was just saying like it's ruled by Uranus, and it does what it wants. It beats to its own drum, and it's the only planet in orbit something. I forgot what they.
That's a fact. Yep. So Saturn is the slowest moving planet, which would make sense when it comes to completing cycles or, anything for that matter. Because we think that, this is going to be a walk in the park. And then you're like 3 years later, still breaking a cycle. So that makes sense for Saturn. All right. So we doing the major arcana next week. I'll give y'all a little sneak peek of what these slides look like, because it's not like these. So we'll actually finish the minor arcana a lot quicker next week. I'm actually going to add to some of these slides, add some different activities. So next week isn't boring. But yeah, that is it. That is all. Does anybody have any questions or anything before we end today's class? We're finally finished. I feel so free. This is like the moment where you just take your bra off after a long day and you just feel a lot of relief. That's what this is
I
like.
have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my first time taking your class. So do I have to like sign up again for next week, or do you just automatically just send it to our email?
So I had sent a link for the group chat in the chat. So if you can join that by any chance, it'll make it easier, because everybody will be in the same place. Trying to get all the same emails is kind of hard. But I'll probably try to find a different way to go about it. So just in case people can't join the group chat for some odd reason, we can have a alternative setup. But that was the only way for me to keep everybody in the same space so that we could all join the different classes. But if you want to sign up again, that'll work. I might have to make this like a class type of like sign up so that it's constant, but I tried to do that when I made it because, I was like, okay, well, we'll do it that way. But it just made separate events, which I didn't like, because I'm like, now you got to sign up for 3 different things. So I'll try to set it up as a class. I think that'll be more beneficial, but I'll see how that works, because it's been a little weird. But I think I will use one of my little marketing things this week to send it to everybody that signed up in the past so that y'all all can
Is Telegram Messenger the one you're talking about?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, if anyone else wants to join, I'm there. Y'all can ask questions. We can do little, games or whatever, or however y'all gonna go about that with tarot. I just have to figure out how we can get people to talk or engage. I just don't like to be overbearing. Like I'll send my little good morning text, and if nobody responds, I'm like, cool.
You're like, okay, that's it.
Right, I'm like, oh well, I'll send something.
That's funny. Oh my god.
But yeah, did anybody else have any questions?
How
many more slots is that? Okay, like 40 slots. But alrighty, no one else has any questions, I will call it a night. This was fun. We got a lot done, so that's great. Next week we'll just be doing the minor arcana, maybe a few games here and there just to spice it up, since we got 4 slots. But I'll see you guys next week. If you guys are not signed up for the group chat, then y'all can message me. I can give y'all the link for that if y'all need it. I will be trying to reach out to everybody through email, so that y'all could sign up for the next classes too. But I'll see y'all next week. Bring y'all pens and paper, because we're gonna be getting into the minor arcana.
Thank you so much.
Y'all are so welcome. Y'all take care.
Thank you. You too.
Peace.